October 2015 forecast for the month. It is a beautiful, sweltering hot California morning, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you for subscribing to my channel and for your loyal support on my Facebook page, Audrey Alison, Astrology and Tarot. And I wanted to also take a minute in every reading to give a special shout out and gratitude of thanks to a woman who lives in a small town in New England called Manchester by the Sea, who got a hold of me and inspired me to create a donate button on my homepage at audreyalison.com, where I have since received her donations just for doing these forecasts, and she expects nothing in return, which is an amazing, beautiful, generous spirit. And since then, I've received some donations from a loyal client of mine in France and a woman in London. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that this does not go unnoticed, nor do I not sit back at my computer and just almost cry from the gratitude of people who don't expect anything in return and are willing to support me on this venture. So many thanks to you out there, and you know who you are. Let's get to the forecast because this month is spectacular. There's a lot of trippy energy happening. We have a few different trines in two different elements occurring. So our first transit in October on the 8th is Venus, who's finally leaving Leo, exiting Leo after an extended 4-month stay and a retrograde, and entering Virgo through November 8th. And this is really igniting your 5th house of children and romance and creativity and entrepreneurial energy. I have to interrupt here because I'm remembering a dream that I had last night, and it was all about Tauruses and Taurians, and I'm going to tell you a number I kept hearing through my dreams is 519. Now, maybe that applies to some of you, and it just triggered me because I said the 5th house, and I didn't remember this dream, so I have to look that up myself. But it was all about Tauruses and 519. And I'm feeling like maybe oh, I know why. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the first, 5th, and 9th house are activated for you during the supermoon Taurus. Wow. Okay, I'll get to that down the line, but that's some trippy shit right there. Okay, let me get back. Sorry, that's just how I do up here. Let me get back to my original forecast. Okay, so Venus entering your 5th house. Venus, love and romance, in the 5th house of love and romance. It doesn't get much better than that. So for those of you in relationships, this is super energy. For those of you not, this is actually even greater energy to find a dating connection, something that can turn into relationship. Because the 5th house is how you meet people. It's lighthearted, it's attraction, it's a lust and passion and physical attraction. And Venus is the goddess of love and money. So regarding taking the relationship aspect out of this, for those of you starting your own businesses or having some entrepreneurial energy, Venus is finance, and that could be successful in providing for what you need financially in order to start that entrepreneurial creative energy through the 8th of November. On the 9th of October, Mercury finally goes direct at 0 degrees of Libra. He officially clears his shadow, though, on the 24th of October, the evening of the 23rd, and that's at 15 degrees, the degree in which he retrograded. That's the clearing of the shadow. So, but Mercury's officially direct on the 9th in your 6th house of health. So maybe some of you Tauruses haven't been feeling as energetic or a little bit under the weather or exasperated somehow, because the 6th house of health and work had Mercury retrograde in that sector. And your routines and your errands could have been a little bit like, what on earth? Getting to work, complications and all that, smooth sailing with Mercury direct. We want him direct in the health sector, that's for sure. So I hope that you're all feeling much better if you were feeling a little under the weather. Please watch your ascendant sign as well for these forecasts, because I'm getting into some degree marks that will probably resonate a lot more strongly with your natal chart positioning. So watch your ascendants. On the 11th of October, there's an aspect that will take place for the remainder of October and into November, and that is Jupiter trining Pluto. Jupiter, stationed in Virgo, conjunct Mars and Venus, is trining Pluto in Capricorn at an exact 13 degrees through the end of the month, affecting this fifth house of romance and children, and the ninth house of study, education, foreign travel, higher certification, higher knowledge, learning, spirituality, metaphysical energies, philosophy, law, religion. I mean, the ninth house is vast. It's naturally governed by Sagittarius on the solar wheel, so there's a lot of adventure happening in the ninth house, but there's a learning feel to this. Learning about the new romances you're in, learning about the children getting educations, the children going to college. The fifth house, trining the ninth house. The trine is a harmonious, positive energy. It's not like a square. It's not challenging. There's not lessons learned in that aspect. It's filtering positive energy 180 degrees down that triangle, that energy. In the earth signs, Virgo and Capricorn. On the 12th, we have our new moon at 19 degrees of Libra, conjunct that direct Mercury in the sixth house. So the new moon is new work. The new moon is new health. Set your intentions in the sector on how you want to spend the routine of the day, the daily routine. Also a new diet, a new health eating regimen, a new eating plan. Start your intentions on the 12th for weight loss or implementing a specific positive health regimen into your life, and you'll have a lot of success backing you if you begin this around the 12th. On the 15th and 16th consecutively, Mars joins Jupiter at the exact 13-degree mark as he trines Pluto. And they're in this theme together, Mars and Jupiter, because on the 17th, they're at 14 degrees together. And I'm referring to Mars as the younger brother or cousin or stepbrother or half-brother of Jupiter, the jovial uncle who's just sitting in this fifth house, expanding the sector for you. Now, some of you Taurians are pregnant at this time and you're just growing. Jupiter is expanding the creative, fertile sector of your chart. But Mars is there going, hey man, because Mars moves a lot quicker than Jupiter. He's there for a whole year, if not 13 months. And Mars, he's in a sign every 60 days. So he's zipping around and visits each sign in 2 years. And Jupiter stays in a sign for a year total. So he's the stamina behind Jupiter, and he's wanting this energy, this rapid movement to occur, and Jupiter's abundance and optimism and faith. And this is in between that fifth and ninth house for you. It's, you know, you can meet love out of the country at this time if you're traveling. And I mean beautiful romantic energy. I'm thinking of the movie Eat, Pray, Love right now. And I was in a reading last week and I mentioned that to a client as well. I might need to reinvestigate that movie. Maybe I'll be going out of the country. All right, let's see. On the 19th, the moon joins Pluto in Capricorn. The moon transiting so quickly. Our satellite transits every 2 to 3 days. So when he joins up with Pluto in Capricorn at 13 degrees, trining Mars at 15 degrees, Jupiter at 14 degrees, and Venus at 9 degrees, all in Virgo, there's the intuition that joins the intensity of Pluto, the intuition and receptivity of the goddess moon herself in Capricorn. There's just something very spectacular happening in between the fifth and ninth house for you. Learning about being your own creator. Having independence, the ninth house, independence in your creative endeavors. Getting certified to do something that you have wanted to take control over and do passionately. Having support and energy to send your children to college. There's a lot of ways this could apply, but it is very romantic, to say the least. For those of you looking for relationships, this is the trine that's going to help you ground it. The earth trines are stability, deep-rooted energy. It's perfect for beginning a relationship after that new moon as well. On the 23rd of October, the sun enters Scorpio like he does annually, and when he does so, this will trigger the water trine between Neptune and Pisces and the sun in Scorpio. This is your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships, and the house of the others, the house of the hidden enemies. So if the sun is there, you'll know who is your friend and who is not. But the 7th house is really about your marriage, and what a spectacular time to get married after Mercury is officially direct and the sun enters Scorpio on the 23rd. You'll be really connected with people that you want to do business with, and also your significant other. On the 27th, we have our full moon at 3 degrees of Taurus. This is your moon. This is your full moon. And check this, it's a supermoon. So the supermoon means it's closest to the earth and in direct alignment with the sun and the earth. And it's a full moon, so we'll be able to see this supermoon, and we won't receive another supermoon until April of 2016, and that's a new moon. So you won't see it like you're going to see this bauble hang in the sky near Halloween. I mean, it's going to be like you can touch it. It's the blood moon. It's going to be spectacular. But since it's in your sign, earth sign Taurus, and you're really connecting with this earth trine energy, it actually ignites a grand earth trine. The moon in Taurus, Jupiter in Virgo, as well as Mars and Venus, and Pluto in Capricorn, grand earth trine on the 27th, the day of the full supermoon, affecting the 1st, 5th, and 9th houses, those numbers I dreamt of for you last night, except they came in the order of 519. So I will be looking up my angel number book as well, what that means. But the 1st house of self, ego, body, the 5th house of children, and the 9th house of spirituality, metaphysical energies, long-distance travel, adventure, study, certification, higher knowledge, a higher understanding, a higher learning, a new belief system. Amazing, stable energy. And Taurus, you're all about it. You love it. Now, the opposite of the Earth trine is occurring 4 days later in a new element. We're receiving on Halloween, happy Samhain, if you're into that, happy Halloween, on the 31st. The sun, like I mentioned, into Scorpio ignites Neptune in Pisces. And the moon, is traveling into Cancer very rapidly. So on the 31st, the moon arrives into Cancer, igniting a grand water trine on Halloween, right after the supermoon. So the moon's just going to be magnificent trick-or-treating. So this is affecting the 3rd house of communications, the 7th house of partnership again, and the 11th house of connections and friendships and social clubs and organizations. What a beautiful way to end the month. And this is, the watery trines are nebulous energy. They're very psychic, dreamy energy. They're not grounded like the earth trine energy that you really connect with, Taurus. This is more psychic and intuitive. And what a great day to have it on the day that the veil is thinnest in between the living and the dead of Halloween. The planes are very thin that day. And if you're in New Orleans on Halloween, I mean, you can see people walking around that you know aren't alive. I've seen it a couple times with my own eyes. I have photographs. Okay, so regardless of what people believe in, I'm sorry if everyone's getting weirded out, but look, we are all energy, okay? This is not about anything other than physical, scientific energy and gravity and all things that exist at one period of time. Okay, let me get to the cards, and in each reading, if you've watched other videos, you know I am paying homage, however I like saying it the Frenchy way, homage, to Pamela Coleman Smith. This is her picture. I am using the Rider-Waite tarot deck that I retrieved from New Orleans with the simple plaid back. I was in the French Quarter and I picked one up because any reader that collects the tarot has a Rider-Waite deck. The depictions go back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, and the reason I'm talking about Pamela is because she's never given the credit that she's due. She's the artist behind these cards. But when you say the deck, you say Rider-Waite. Rider was the publisher of the deck, and Arthur Waite was the man who verbally expressed the visualizations to Pamela Coleman Smith, who drew them out as the artist. And her story goes like this. And I won't get emotional this time around, I hope, because in other videos I'm just crying when I say this story. So Pamela was born on February 16th, 1878 in Middlesex, England. She traveled to Brooklyn, New York to study at the Pratt Institute of Theater and Artistry. And she spent her time after graduating traveling in between Kingston, Jamaica, London, and Brooklyn. And in 1903, she joined the Order of the Golden Dawn, which is where most mystics, psychics, intuits, artists went in the early 1900s when they were just trying to identify with their own crafts and skills. And Aleister Crowley was a member of that order as well. And in 1909, under the guidance of Arthur Waite, he called upon her for a small token payment to draw the depictions of the illustrations that he was verbally saying to her for all of these 78 cards, which he called the tarot pack. Despite the occasional art shows and favorable reviews by critics that Pamela received, the continued slow sales of her works and rejections by commercial publishers left her deeply disappointed. Pamela never married. She had no known heirs except for an elderly female companion who shared her flat. She had no children. She died on September 18th, 1951, penniless and obscure. There was no funeral procession to honor her life. There was no memorial service to touch upon the impact her work would one day have upon her admirers. She died disappointed that her paintings and writings failed to achieve success, yet she never stopped believing in herself. Now, I think that might be an assumption that she died disappointed, but we'll go with it. Sorry about the car horn too, the auto body shop. I can't do anything about it. Pamela Coleman Smith would all but be forgotten except for these 78 tarot paintings known as the Rider-Waite Tarot Pack. She would no doubt be astonished and gladdened to know that today the deck touches the hearts and emotions of millions of people everywhere. So I needed to give her the respect that she is so due, and I'll show her picture again. And I'm using this deck to read for you, Taurus, so let's see what comes up. And on October 15th, I'll be returning as a third-time special guest on Goddess Alive Radio, where I will be taking callers live and doing readings for an hour on the air. So there will be more information regarding that on my Facebook page at Audrey Alison Astrology and Tarot. I'm debating on whether or not to turn this off because of the horn. I can read through it, but I know my viewers get very annoyed. I don't know. I've already started shuffling, so I just really don't want to screw with it, so I'm sorry. Bear with the horn. Hopefully someone will have the sense that God gave them to turn it off. All right, Taurus. Here are your cards for October. The moon. This is your full moon. This is why. See, if I would have stopped shuffling, it changes the frequency a little bit. And I'm kind of used to the horn now. It sounds like the ocean. Okay. So the moon. This is your full moon in Taurus on the 27th, the super moon. It's also the psychic guidance. It's the watery intuition. And maybe, we'll see what other cards come up. But if any of you had been depressed through the retrograde, know that that will dissipate. Temperance. This is the card of Sagittarius, but it also means moderation. And thank you. Moderation, patience, balance, beauty, and timing, divine timing. I also just want to say this is just for a few of you. This might apply, but for those of you who have been drinking, With the moon in temperance, it means, listen, don't abuse the alcohol right now. There's too much nebulous energy in between the watery realms of the water trine and your own involvement in the earth trine. As much as you can, I know people suffer from addictions, but moderation is key through the month of October, so keep that in mind. And the chimes are agreeing. The Page of Wands, he's coming up in all readings. Get moving. Take action. The fifth house of creativity, the fire. Fifth house of implementing your own skills and talents, entrepreneurial energy. Also, the seeds of pregnancy. The page is a messenger. The page is a little messenger, but it's fire. So it's time with Mercury direct to take action. Now you have two cards at the end. First one, the Emperor. Wow, you've got some major arcana action here. The Moon, Temperance, and the Emperor. Action, ruled by Mars. Mars conjunct Jupiter. In the Earth trine that you're a part of. Mars is your own authority, your fifth house of entrepreneurial energy, taking action and becoming your own boss, your own leader. The Emperor doesn't report to anyone. The Emperor rules, okay? So you might be making a shift here, Taurus. And the Four of Coins, savings, security, all things Taurian, safety, financial security, protection of your finances, saving money, putting money away for a rainy day, starting a savings plan. You know, these two together is the outcome. You're earning. You have money now. You have money now to put away. And I mean, everyone's on a different scale monetarily in life. If $10 is all you have to put away, and some of you have 100, it doesn't matter. It's still putting money away. Because I'm going to tell you something. $10 put away every week is $520 that you have at the end of the year to put into an IRA, something that you can invest in that you don't touch, and you can turn $520 in a year into $2,500 if you invest it right. So if you think, oh, it's just $5, it's just $10, that's not thinking the goal. Okay, think of the goal. And moderation. Everywhere you go on this path to the sun requires a step. It's not that you just get to the sun. You don't just get to the goal in a second. So these little things that you can put away can turn into the whole goal of the work. And the moon around you is trust your intuition as well. Watch the vices. Don't get, well, it wasn't reversed. It's upright. And I'm feeling like you really want to go inward and trust what your intuition is telling you right now. When it comes to the direction that you need to head, the Page of Wands. I can't get over her artistry. Look how antiquated just the depictions are. The Emperor. You know, he's the one in control. So if there is someone telling you what to do with your money, you just let them know, hey, listen, I'm good. You do you. I'm going to do me. And you know what to do with your finances. You're the only one living your own path. I mean, regardless of relationships, you are in this alone, as everyone is. So you need to do what's best for you, is the message I'm getting for you. And take your time with it. You can't rush things. Patience, divine timing. Thank you for joining me, Taurus. My name is Audrey Alison, and remember, the sky is limitless, so reach for the stars.